Hello, this is Dr. Jason Munsell. It is about 4:12 on Thursday afternoon. Welcome. How are you? Fine, thank you. Tea. Um, what I'm going to do, there's a couple of things. I don't know how much I'll get through tonight or right now, but generally I have created two different PowerPoints for Chapter 7. And I know our syllabus says that we'll get through Chapters 7 and 9 online this week, and so I'll do my best to do so. Um, but uh, but what because I mean they certainly are related in lots of different ways. But what I've decided to do is sort of take metaphors first, and then meth second. And so I've created two different PowerPoints because that's fun to do. So the first thing I'm going to start off with, and by the way, hope you're doing well. Keep on keeping on, keep on tweeting, keep on threading, and again, I'm leaving those threads open so you can do stuff whenever. And I got that new thread up about slogans, so you can apply some of the ideas when it comes to chapters 4 and 5 about words, word. So let me say a bit about metaphor. I got some application stuff that I'll try to take you through, and also I have on KC more various bookmarks for you that are very delightful. Yeah, getting away from Han. I'm going to get away from Han just a little bit in this online lecture. We shall see. But I do like what he does with this chapter, and I like water. Water is good. Actually, this is water. I had tea. I ran out of tea and I put water in it. H2O. Water. Water metaphors, and all the metaphors of politics and religion show interesting stuff, yeah. I'll let you read some of the specific stuff about water metaphors and all that type of stuff because I want to offer a bigger thing, not just water. But lots of different stuff. But one thing that is important, I'll talk more about metaphor here in a second, but at the same time, however, yeah, all metaphors is metaphor theory stuff. And by the way, he does say that audiences, a lot of basic metaphors come from experiences, life experiences, experiences about, being human. Air, fire, earth, water, human anatomy, the animal world, the seasons, gardening, planting, growing, decaying, and so forth, and water, water, water. And then all that stuff has extra baggage because all the various ideas that go along with the various metaphors then are attached to some sort of new thing. That'll make sense in a second. One of the things that he does mention, Michael Osborne at Memphis State, which is no longer Memphis State, it's University of University of Memphis, I think. And I know Michael Osborne. He's a pretty good guy. He's actually a great guy. But friends, I'm correcting this stuff as I go. And he has this really a watershed. Ooh, there's a metaphor. A watershed essay that I found something from some course someplace at Missouri State that is a nice little link to some of the things that Michael Osborne talked about, and it wasn't just water. He wrote some stuff on what he called archetypal metaphors in rhetoric, and he called it the light-dark family. And there's lots of different things here that he talks about, but basically there's so much stuff about lightness and darkness. He talks about blah, blah, blah. You can read this. You can go through the link. But there's all these light and dark metaphors throughout that we see. Something that's dark is usually bad. Something that's light is usually better. And even the darkness, blah, blah. Darkness occupies the center, and the sun consists. We got heat and cold that sort of is linked to dark and light. seasonal cycles and all that type of stuff, and so it's sort of interesting just to sort of look at all these different things and the archetypal metaphors that we oftentimes see, and not just in political rhetoric, but pretty much everything. So take a look at that, because I think it's sort of sunlit uplands from Churchill. It's sort of interesting stuff. So it's not just about water. I mean, it's birth and death. I mean, everything. So, and then of course the larger theory here. Is the stuff on deterministic compulsion, which I've already introduced to you. Just this idea that once we are introduced to a certain way of seeing something via a metaphor or a word or whatever, there is this compulsion to sort of see it or see the world that way, blinders on horses and not this other way. Now, more theoretically, this is sort of capturing what I think Hahn is saying, but in a different way. Again, a metaphor, just like words or anything else, is a frame, a way of looking at something. By the way, on my 80s channel over there, they just played Fame. I'm gonna live forever. And usually, theoretically, it works through what we call a vehicle and a tenor. A vehicle is a metaphor, is the actual metaphor, and the tenor is the thing that the metaphor is giving it some sort of new perspective to. So, for instance, this cup is sunlight on a rainy day. So the metaphor is sunlight on a rainy day, or metaphoric phrase. That's the vehicle, and the tenor is the cup. And so it gives this thing a new perspective. Yeah, this is sunlight. Rainy day. It opens, yeah. Okay. So metaphor is a way of seeing a cup or anything like that from a certain point of view. And in political discourse, we see lots of different metaphors, not just all the stuff. I mean, there's sports metaphors. It's the fourth quarter in America. Oh, the bases are loaded. Trump is up. Strike 2. Strike 5. War metaphors: war on drugs, war on crime, war on drunk monkeys. I mean, all these things. In this case, war is used metaphorically. So again, it's like these sunglasses or these safety glasses, whatever, reading glasses. These are words, phrases, forms, but also metaphors that help us see things in a particular way and not the other way. And then again, and I've said this in class, I do believe, that Ginger Crocker from another book talks about how frames become really reality for the way we see reality. Because in a sense, perception is reality. I mean, there is stuff out there, but the way we perceive things, sort of creates that sort of reality, even if it's a lie. That's the way the world works. In any case, oftentimes ideologies, as we've talked about, are communicated through words, arguments, ideographs, forms. All these different types. And then a metaphor is just another sort of, it is a word, very obviously, but it's a certain type of word. And Kenneth Burke, when he talked about, I know that we're talking about deterministic compulsion here, and I've talked a little bit about deterministic screen and framing and all that type of stuff. But one of the things, Burke talks about these larger ideas. By the way, did you know Hahn likes Burke and uses Burke a lot? Yeah. He had these ideas of 4 master tropes, and a trope is just basically a figure of speech, and a metaphor, as you know, is a figure of speech. To Burke, the reality principle of metaphor was perspective, because again, the baggage, the metaphor, the vehicle, is giving a new perspective to the tenor, whatever it is, this cup, sunlight. Because that process then also diagnoses, evaluates, and prescribes certain ways of looking at things. War on drugs. Diagnosis. Wow. War on drugs. Drugs. This is a huge problem. Evaluates. Yeah, what should we, what should we do? We need to, it's a big thing, and prescribes. We gotta, it's a war, so new government regulations, new authority, blah, blah, blah. Okay. But again, like blinders on horse, what shows always hides. So there is always more ideas or more ways of seeing things. This cup does not have to be sunlight. This cup could be a cloudy day. This cup is a winter nightmare. It's a cold, icy, that's delicious. Cold, icy finger of death. I don't know. But it's always a certain way of seeing things. So, and again, we got this terministic compulsion, these metaphors that folks use sort of offer us a certain way of looking at the world. And oftentimes it also becomes a way in to understand what the author or the writer or the speaker or whatever, the director, oftentimes thinks, because they are using those particular words or metaphor. Sometimes on purpose, sometimes that's just the way they see the world, and they don't even know it. And this lecture is on fire. This lecture is fire. But the interesting things, again, are the consequences. That's really what all the important stuff is, always sort of the rhetorical consequences of any of this stuff. So the reality that such metaphors, they point us toward a certain reality, a certain way of looking at something, and within those metaphors and in combination with other words and everything like that, is sort of oftentimes a hidden motive or hidden idea, worldview of the way the world works, or perhaps an unspoken ideology, whether it is a conservative ideology or a liberal ideology or something completely different. And I do think this stuff works both verbally and visually. Everything that Han talks about is much more sort of verbal. We oftentimes think of metaphors verbal, but I also do think that it works visually, maybe implicitly. But for instance, light-dark metaphors. When it's light, when you can see visually, it says something. When it's dark, the camera is dark or the lighting is different, it says something else. So, and then there's music. So we're going to look at a commercial. And that's pretty much it. So hopefully you'll be able to see what's going on here. This link is also on KC. So, I'm not up on KC. Blah. What we're fixing to watch is a commercial from the Trump campaign, and it focuses on economics, and hopefully you'll be able to hear this as well, because I'm interested in showing you both the words and the visuals, the best you can sort of see it through this rinky-dink outfit we got going on here. And I'm just going to do, a quick sort of, this is like a little application activity, and see what we can find out, what's going on here. Here we are. And I put this under commercials, so on the bookmarks where it says political commercial stuff, that's where it is. And so the stuff on Trump economy spot. Let's see. You can see that?
Hillary Clinton's America, the system stays rigged against America. Syrian refugees flood in. Illegal immigrants convicted of committing crimes get to stay, collecting Social Security benefits, skipping the line. Our border open, it's more of the same, but worse. Donald Trump's America is secure. Terrorists and dangerous criminals kept out. The border secure. Our families safe. Change that makes America safe again. Donald Trump for president.
I'm Donald Trump, and I approve this message.
Let's watch this again because it's fun.